Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Regulation D is about to get nutty. Hisuian Pokemon, allowed. Starter Pokemon, allowed. Legendary Pokemon, allowed. Everything from the Pokemon Home Update except for restricted legendaries, mythicals, and Walking Wake and Iron Leaves is magically, suddenly going to be usable in July. Get ready, good luck, have fun, and I want to give my thoughts on the Pokemon that are coming in. Also, please leave a like and share the video, get it promoted, comment down below, get that discussion going on the madness that is about to come upon us for competitive Pokemon. We are going into the deep dive of shenanigans. So I just have a list of regional variant Pokemon. I'm going to point out some of the relevant ones. There's also ones that just didn't come in. So we don't have Alolan Raticate. We don't have Ninetales and Sandslash and stuff. But Raichu also means that we're going to have Alolan Raichu. So we just have regional forms of all kinds if the Pokemon is in being allowed. And this is where I think we just got to see the power creep come in, to where it's like, why? Why run that? Dugtrio, niche viable. Why are we running Alolan Dugtrio? Especially if Regieleki is just going to be allowed. So that's just like a pinnacle sweeping Pokemon. What's the point of this thing then? I don't know. We're going to have Alolan Persian. And then we have Alolan Muck, where things get a little weird because Alolan Muck does not have any learnable moves by breeding. Which doesn't make any sense, because even if it, like, has some weird breeding stipulations, you can use the Mirror Herb, so it needs a pool of breedable moves to actually be able to learn inside the game, and because of the Pokemon Home Update, making it to where when you transfer the Pokemon, it wipes the moveset, you need breedable moves on the Pokemon. So if we look at the Generation 7 Egg moves, we can see what Alolan Muck is losing. Assurance, Clear Smog, Curse. Not really too much on the Imprison or the Pursuit. Shadow Sneak, that gets a little bit of tech, and then the Stockpile. So a lot of people are saying, like, this is really, really bad for Alolan Muck, but I think that's kind of overstated because you just have one of the most disgustingly good typings, and you still have TMs, and you still have your base move pool. Did Alolan Muck only exist because of Curse? Probably not. And we still have access to Knockoff, we still get the Acid Armor, we're going to have Minimized Toxic, but it is like a really weird quirk where Game Freak just forgot to put in the egg moves, and with all the weird moveset restrictions and limitations, well, we just don't have those on Alolan Muck because of how the programming quirks work now. But we still have some usable stuff, and we're going to see if Alolan Muck becomes a victim of power creep or if it still finds some play. After that, Berserker is going to be allowed. Berserker never really got play in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I don't think it being overrated in Terra Raids makes people, like, discover this Pokemon. It can maybe just, like, one-for-one trade, but that's the thing about the Terrestrialization. Like, you can one-shot nuke anything, but then you get outspeed and broken down. So I don't know if, like, Wallbreaker Berserker holds up compared to some of the other ones. And then, interestingly enough, yeah, we actually don't have a lot of Galarian Pokemon, but we are going to see this. We're going to see legendary Galarian Pokemon as well as the Slowbro. And Slowbro is where things get a little interesting because we have Shell Sidearm. And Galarian Slowbro actually got a lot of play in Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive, and now I think it's actually going to have a lot of power. So Shell Sidearm forecasts whether the base damage would be higher as a physical move or a special move and becomes the category it predicts. This is really good against a lot of modern Pokemon because they have some kind of flaw. You look at Fluttermane, no defense. Iron Bundle has no special defense. Also, we have to remember the Quick Draw ability that gives a 30% chance that Galarian Slowbro is just going to go first. I don't know about, like, Quick Claw shenanigans, but that bumps it up to a 44%. But it also means if you just, like, throw the Terrestrialization on, you get all the damage you need. So, kind of mocked up something quick and dirty here. Galarian Slowbro into the Iron Bundle. So even Modest Nature with, like, weird EV spread, that way you can survive special attacks, which the game is skewing between Iron Bundle, Fluttermane, as well as things like Golden Go. So, like, having the special defense investment here actually isn't trolling, and you still get some hit points. We can just kind of look. So the Shell Sidearm isn't an immediate KO unless we go Terra, unless we have a Life Orb. But then you can just kind of, like, put that damage in, and yeah, that's a thing. Hydro Pump from a Specs Timid Iron Bundle. not enough to directly KO. So like Galarian Slowbro gets to survive, one-shot the Iron Bundle because of its very low special defense hit points combo, or it can just get the quick draw and win. And I guess maybe just leave the option to do both into like stronger Pokemon or something as well. So Galarian Slowbro, I think it's going to be making a comeback. As for some other Pokemon, Lake Spirits might be viable because of a Pokemon Legends move, Mystical Power. Inflicts damage if the sum of the user's current attack and special attack is greater than or equal to the sum of the defense and special defense, user's offensive stats will be raised. Otherwise, defensive stats will be raised. So you get free attack, special attack, or defense, special defense, depending on the higher stats, on a damaging move. Tank Uxie just getting free stockpile while attacking is interesting. And then Azelf potentially like snowballing damage if it doesn't get one shot. Does Uxie just become a better Cresselia, or is Cresselia just going to be one of the most used Pokemon ever for being one of the most filthy, unacceptable tanks ever? So we can look at something like this to where you go Terra Electric Levitate. Your Cresselia now has no weaknesses. Calm Mind Stored Power Moonblast, you hit everything and can quickly transition into outrageously devastating amounts of damage. You have the Moonlight for sustain. Very few things have Toxic anymore, so you can't really like Toxic stall it out. And they get to max out the hit points, max out the defense, just not die into anything physical, especially because you don't have to worry about super effective hits, and then the Calm Mind on your special defense, and then like this is Cresselia. I don't even know what item you put here. Is it leftovers? Do you slap your leftovers on another tank Pokemon? Do you even need another tank Pokemon if you have a Cresselia on your team? Do you even need to run anything else on Cresselia if it just looks like this? What can actually break this thing? I guess we'll have to find out in July. We got a little bit of updates, people kind of going crazy, but also just bad takes in general. So reminder, before you post your Landorus is back memes, we got a lot of changes to the moveset. But here's the thing, it's not losing anything. It's losing knockoff. That's the only thing that really matters. So if you just kind of go into it, Landorus still exists. This is what makes Landorus terrifying. It's that it can taunt a lead Pokemon or some kind of setup, get a Swords Dance, and then just be strong. Now, it is good without Dynamax that it's not getting a free Airstream and then just having Scarf and bonus damage, so it's going to feel a bit more manageable, but still lays down the Intimidate and still does a lot of damage. This channel has been doing the best competitive analysis in all of Generation 9 and working on a lot of damage theory, and 145 just throws all of that out of the window in crazy ways, and 91 is what we've been playing around with to where we are in a bulkier meta to where wall breaking is pretty successful, so a 91 speed Pokemon that has a 145 attack just kind of wins out really well. Now, does Iron Bundle keep Landorus in check? And the thing is, a Scarf Landorus doesn't have as much like shutdown or snowballing threat, so I don't consider that to be a good Pokemon. It's mostly, again, if like you have a bulky team and then this thing just completely steamrolls it. So we're going to see if the introduction of other legendary Pokemon maybe changes the meta around to make it a bit more difficult for Landorus, or if this thing is just everywhere because it's too strong, or maybe bulk up Fissure becomes a thing because Fissure meta. We've been in a Fissure meta. It's a Fissure meta. People are rejecting it. If you reject it, you just choose to be bad at Pokemon. There's nothing else I can say about rejecting one-hit KO moves. So you can get your bulky Landorus out there with the Fissure. So now, like, physical Pokemon can't do anything to this, and it gets one-shots. Really cool, Game Freak. We still got all kinds of other Pokemon to talk about. So we got starter Pokemon. Delphox has never really been played. Greninja gets gutted with the changes to Protean, so I don't think Greninja's gonna be that crazy. And then we also have like Meowscarada power creep. Greninja was never that great of a competitive Pokemon either, so we're gonna see how that plays out. Fortunately, we survive no Incineroar for a while, so until the DLC like adds in all starter Pokemon. And we've had the Terra Raid events for Cinderace and Inteleon. I did a moveset breaking down Inteleon as like secretly one of the best Pokemon ever. I don't know how it didn't get play in Generation 8, but maybe Generation 9 is where it just becomes one of the best Pokemon ever. Cinderace, we're going to see how it holds up with the Libero nerfs, and then Rillaboom, no Grassy Glide, so this Pokemon doesn't even exist. We also have Hisuian forms to talk about, so Rockhead on the Hisui Arcanine is going to be looking really strong. Electro doesn't seem like it has much play. We have just Typhlosion again, and Typhlosion has this like weird fraudulence similar to the Inteleons, where looking at the numbers and stats, it should be played, especially because like Typhlosion is effectively in the same line as Chi-Yu, and everyone gave that Pokemon like a lot of overhype. So we're going to see like how, if any of this develops. Mostly going to be about the Eviolite on this, but there's already just like great get up and go tank Pokemon. Sneasler doesn't really seem like it's going to be that important. Same thing on just like a lot of these Pokemon, but then we get into the Avalugg, and I think Avalugg is going to be the big boy, top dog, very scary Pokemon. Hisui and Gudra doesn't do anything. None of these Pokemon really do too much of anything. I keep forgetting to like properly edit in that Comeuppance is negative priority, so we're probably not going to see Hisui and Zoroark too much. And then we also just have some of the other ones. Ursaluna is ridiculous. Basculegion. Basculegion is going to be wild. I can't wait to see how the Houndstone team develops. Cleavor is actually going to be really strong with Fury Cutter. Overquill, again, not really much of a thing when you can just run the Eviolite Quillfish, and that's it. We also have the Crown Tundra legendary Pokemon, which are such a pinnacle in power creep that, like, did you ever think a 130 or 145, 130 Pokemon would ever exist? I guess the Ultra Beast kind of like squeaked that in as possibilities, but I mean, wow, Spectre is just going to come in and outspeed almost everything and then still have a 145 special attack that warps the game and then has like its own beast boosting with terrestrialization options, so that's going to be terrifying. Same thing on Regieleki, just having 50% special attack damage as the fastest thing ever. That also like game warps and game breaks a lot of speed tiers and stuff into the 100 special attack that can still just like dumpster. Like, what happens if you just go Specs, Terra Electric, Transistor, and as long as you don't find a ground type Pokemon, you just one-shot everything while being faster than everything, and you can squeak out a little bit of extra damage on the Lost Nature, right? That's spooky. Regidrago. Dragon Energy Scarf might be something to keep an eye out for, so I did this. Scarf 80. Outspeeds Dragapult, and everything under Dragapult, like the Iron Bundle and the Fluttermane, is, well, not the Fluttermane, because that's a Fairy-type Pokemon, so this is that weird thing where Game Freak said, oh, this is acceptable. We're allowed to give 50% bonus damage on top of an Eruption, on top of a Water Spout, because Fairy types exist. It's also allowed to be very tanky if you go full into the defenses on it, because that's how defensive scaling works, and then just like a lot of other weird stuff. So it can Dragon Energy Wall Break, it can Dragon Dance, Outrage, and pull some shenanigans, or it can just be also one of the filthiest tanks ever, and that was a set I ran and I've talked about in the past. But yeah, now we also have all of the Crown Tundra game warping Pokemon, and then Urshifu is going to be in, so that single strike, being able to just kind of break through defensive Pokemon, that's going to be nasty. Will the always critting Wicked Blow be enough to calm down some of the Iron Defense and defensive setup we've been seeing, but also people are already running like a million anti-tank moves per team anyways, so who knows where that's going to go. And that's going to pretty much be everything for the Regulation D breakdown. I was hoping maybe it was just Hisui Pokemon and the starters, and we don't have to worry about legendary Pokemon coming in for a bit, but now this is going to be from July to September. Who even knows how they're going to mix it up after that? Maybe just splash in Iron Leaves and Walking Wake. I don't know. But yeah, it's mostly just those Crown Tundra Pokemon that I hate seeing. And also Urshifu wasn't fun, just getting Wicked Blowed into my like tank team every game. So the theme of Generation non-competitive has been you just steal wins with terrestrialization and they're just being too much in the game to deal with. And that's now just going to get worse, because I've been talking about like, yo, Avalugg, very, very broken. Oh, the Basculegion strat, 100% win rate if you pull it off correctly. This, like, well, do you even have that with Regieleki and Spectrier existing and what those can do with terrestrialization? So it's just, you pick your wacky thing and you're going to find wins with it, but you're also going to have a very, very ugly and difficult time playing Pokemon. I don't know if this is going to be one of those things where if everything's busted, everyone's going to have more fun, or if there's just going to be too much unfun, oppressive stuff inside the game, and then again, like, maybe none of that power matters because Cresselia just still walls everything out. I don't know, guys. Hope you all enjoy the video. Comment your thoughts down below. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.